being passive, ones that were, really gaseous, or ones that were thin in their atmosphere, and like this. They had such a great understanding, and it had to be, one has to assume that their technology was way better than what we have, because they founded this. They had such great understanding that they determined that they could tell what people were going to do, the way that people responded based off of what they saw in the night sky. Okay?
You said ancient.
Ancient chemists.
Chemical people.
It was the planetary character traits that inspired the anthropomorphic symbols of the ram, the bull, the twins, the crab, the lion, the virgin, the scorpion, the archer, the seagull, the water bear, and the fish. It was the planetary character traits. Do you understand what I mean when I say planetary character traits?
Characteristics of planets.
Right. Planetary character traits. The way that planets act. So the way that the planets acted inspired the symbols. Some planets acted like rams, some like bulls, some like goats, some like crabs, some like lions. And so it was adopted from the way that the planets behaved. Each constellation was assigned a planet. Okay? Now, give me a quick second. Let's deal with celestial birthdays. Okay? Because the second thing on our list, we have, the first thing is a symbol, which is planetary, which is rather the animal signs. Each constellation has a symbol. It's represented by an animal. So next we have the birthdays, the celestial birthdays. What is a celestial birthday? Very simply, it's the dates that you can go out and view these particular constellations. It's the best time to view these constellations from the night sky. Now you can't go out in your backyard and see all 12 constellations. You have to travel. There's a whole science called stargazing involved. But what the celestial birthdays does is it gives the stargazer a roadmap to where and when he or she should be at any particular place. You understand?
Like around the world somewhere.
Exactly. So you could, once you have attained the celestial birthdays, once you have them on cap, as they say, then you can map your route. Because obviously, if one is viewable in California in January, and then one is viewable, say, in New York in July, you might want to, and it's December, you might want to start on the West Coast and make your way across the United States.
Because of the way it's moving.
Because of where you are, because of the date, because of where you are in the date. It's December, and this particular constellation is viewable in January on the West Coast. And then your last constellation that you want to see is viewable in July on the East Coast. So you start, you go east to west, you go west to east.
Okay.
And different stops in between viewing the constellations. So that's what celestial birthday is. It's just the day when the constellation is best viewed from the northern hemisphere. Okay? Planetary rulers. Now the nature of planetary rulers is something that is heavily debated. What we will state is that it is associated with the height of abilities. Planetary rulers, no matter how you look this information up, you'll find that it's always associated with the height of ability. Okay? Examples. The Taurus. One culture may tell you the Taurus, the bull, he who possesses the bull sign in the month of May, he has the most strength. Or he's more stubborn. Or he can make more children. in the month of May. Whatever his characteristics are, whatever his abilities are, they're heightened with their planetary rulers. If the particular celestial body, if the particular planet is closest to the Earth at any particular time, many cultures would bring those people that belong to that particular planet to the forefront. For whatever reason. They could be advisors, they could be spiritual conducts into the sky. I mean, there's a huge variation of applications and how people interpreted the rulers, the planetary rulers, okay? The entire science itself, if you think about the founding of this entire science, is way beyond what we can understand. You know what I mean? But we know that planetary rulers exist for each constellation. That's all we want to delve into. Once you begin to look this information up, you'll find that you'll be able to follow a particular path that is most comfortable for you in terms of the interpretation of these planetary rulers. But it's a wonderful path to go on. I mean, there's so many variations, it's crazy. As long as you keep an open mind, don't feel like everything you're reading is blasphemy, you'll be wonderful. But for the purpose of LIU lessons, what we expect for our students to be able to regurgitate is that planetary rulers are associated with the height of abilities. Okay? The height of abilities. So you can assume that people would believe, say in contemporary times, that if it's your particular, if it's your birthday and your planet is in line with your constellation, then if you were to take whatever element that your planet is a ruler of, which we're going to get into next, then you would be able to manipulate that element on a much higher level than any other time. Say if it's a fire sign, you would be able to inflame during this time, theoretically.
Yeah.
You may be able to just do fireman. Like, what's the dude?
You're right.
What's the torch?
The human torch is because you're a fire sign and your constellation, your planet is in line with your constellation. Okay. So everybody understand planetary rulers?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it? Now, the classical elements. It's another highly debated subject. The original number is 4 or 5, depending upon whom you are speaking with. Greece is the birth or death place, depending upon who you are speaking with. If you accept the theory that the Alexandrian Greeks were left with the task of backward engineering all of the chemical technology left behind, once the chemical people decided that the Western world had corrupted the land of Chem so much so that the higher sciences had to be buried and guarded, then Alexandria is the death place of the original elements. Feel me?
I got you.
If you accept the theory that ancient chemists were so clueless for at least the previous 10,000 years before Greece arrived, despite the fact that they molded gold in the shape of human faces and built monuments that still stand today, then the Platonic era of natural philosophy is the birthplace of the classical elements.
Ah, I think
This theory suggests that a Greek named Plato was the first to use the term element. So,
a Greek.
a Greek man named Plato.
Oh, yeah.
So we have, perhaps this was a higher science that was broken down in northern Chem, or what they call Alexandria, or that's where it began. Western literary sources will tell you that the Platonic era around 3rd century BC is the beginning of the thoughts concerning the elements. That Plato was the first to use the term element. That a man named Thales was the first to even think about the elements in 600 and something BC.